I never thought a single sentence could make my whole body go silent. Not numb, not angry, just quiet. So quiet that even my own breathing sounded loud to me. It happened on an ordinary evening. Nothing special. No celebration, no argument, no milestone. Just a soft yellow light in our living room, the distant sound of the ceiling fan, and my husband standing by the doorway with his arms crossed. We were talking about something simple, or at least, I thought it was simple. I had asked him if he could help me with something in the kitchen. Something small, something a couple normally does without thinking. But he sighed, and then he said the words that changed everything. "You've done nothing for me." At first, I thought I heard wrong. How could I not? I had spent years, decades, loving him, building a home with him, standing beside him when he was at his lowest and lifting him when he couldn't lift himself. But he looked at me, not with anger. Not even with annoyance. Just with a cold emptiness that made my chest tighten. For a moment, I just stood there, holding the dish towel in my hand like it was the only thing keeping me from falling apart. My heart felt heavy, but my voice was strangely calm. Nothing. He said I did nothing for him. And suddenly, all the years we had spent together began replaying inside my mind. The nights I stayed awake when he was sick. The mornings I woke up early to pack his meals because he liked them fresh. The times I worked extra hours so we could afford the things he wanted but never said out loud. The silent sacrifices, the whispered prayers, the dreams I pushed aside because, maybe later, was better for us. To him, those moments were invisible. To him, they never existed. I didn't cry. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I just whispered softly, almost to myself, "Is that truly how you see me?" He didn't answer. He just walked away, leaving me alone in the kitchen with only the sound of the fan and the quiet ache inside my chest. In that moment, I realized something painful. Sometimes it isn't betrayal or anger that breaks a person. Sometimes it's the disappearance of appreciation. Sometimes it's the erasing of a lifetime of love with a single sentence. And that was the moment my story really began, the moment I understood I had spent years giving my heart to someone who didn't even notice it was in his hands. I was 22 when I first met Daniel. Sometimes I look back at that age and smile, because I truly believed that love alone could build a whole life. I came from a small town, raised with manners, quiet routines, and the idea that if you loved someone with your whole heart, they would always love you back the same way. Daniel wasn't like anyone I had ever met. He was confident, louder than life, and he carried this energy that made the world around him feel brighter. When he looked at me, I felt seen in a way I never had before. I didn't know that those early sparks of excitement would someday turn into something heavier, something I would have to carry mostly alone. Back then, though, everything felt warm and hopeful. We married young. Nothing fancy, just a small ceremony, some homemade food, and a few friends. I didn't care about the decorations or the budget. I cared about standing beside a man I believed would protect me, love me, and build a home with me. I remember holding his hands at the altar, thinking, this is the beginning of everything I dreamed of. The early years of our marriage were quiet but full. We didn't have much money, but we had enthusiasm. We lived in a tiny apartment that echoed when we walked. I learned how to stretch meals, how to save pennies, how to turn a cheap cut of chicken into something that felt comforting after a long day, and I worked hard. Not just at my job, but at everything that comes with building a life with someone. I packed his lunches, ironed his shirts, listened to his worries, celebrated his victories, and calmed his disappointments. I wanted him to feel supported, to feel safe, to feel like he had someone in his corner. I didn't see it then, but everything I did quietly. Quiet effort, quiet love, quiet sacrifice, and sometimes quiet things become invisible. Daniel was ambitious. He wanted better things, bigger things. I admired that about him. But ambition has a way of pulling a person forward so fast that they stop noticing who's walking beside them. He worked late. He traveled often, and slowly, our conversations changed. They became shorter, less warm, more like a checklist. "How was your day?" he'd ask while scrolling on his phone. "Fine," I'd answer, even if it wasn't. We stopped having dinners together. We stopped laughing at silly things. We stopped sitting on the couch just because we enjoyed each other's company. But I stayed patient. I stayed hopeful. I believed every marriage had phases, and if I just kept giving my best, we would find our way back. When we bought our first house, I poured my whole self into making it a home. I painted walls, planted flowers, stitched curtains by hand, and built routines that made us feel steady. I didn't do it for praise. I did it because I believed love was shown through actions, through the things no one sees, the things done when no one is watching. I thought he noticed. I thought he appreciated it. I thought he understood how hard I tried. But life has a cruel way of revealing the truth in moments you don't expect. Looking back, everything that happened later didn't begin suddenly. It was building slowly, quietly, in those little gaps where we stopped reaching for each other. Every marriage has a foundation. Ours was built on love, but also on my silence, my patience, and my habit of giving more than I received. I didn't realize how fragile that foundation had become. Not until the day he looked me in the eye, tired, cold, and distant, and said words that broke something inside me. "You've done nothing for me." That moment didn't come out of nowhere. It was the result of years of small shifts, small wounds, small misunderstandings, all leading to a single sentence that felt like it erased my whole life. But that is where the story truly begins. Before that, this was the life I lived, quiet, devoted, believing that love was enough. And then, one day, it wasn't. If you had asked me a few years ago whether Daniel loved me, I would have said yes. Not passionately, not loudly, but in his own quiet way. I believed that. I held on to it. But over time, our home felt different. Conversations grew shorter. His eyes were often on his phone or his work laptop. At dinners, he barely looked at me. Sometimes, I would speak and he wouldn't respond, as if my voice was background noise, like the sound of the washing machine or the ticking clock. I tried not to take it personally. I told myself he was stressed, overworked, exhausted. I told myself that marriages last because people choose to stay, not because every moment is perfect. But deep down, something began to ache. A kind of quiet loneliness. The kind that creeps in even when someone is sitting right beside you. Little things kept happening. He forgot my birthday one year. Completely. He remembered the next day and apologized, but the apology felt more like a formality than a genuine moment of realization. On our anniversary, I cooked his favorite meal, set the table nicely, even wore the blue dress he once said made me look like something out of a summer painting. He came home late. He ate quietly, and then he said he had a meeting early the next morning and went to sleep. No happy anniversary. No memory of what day it was. I sat at the table after he went to bed, staring at the 2 candles I had lit. The wax was already melting fast, and the room smelled like rosemary and lemon, his favorite. I told myself not to cry. I failed. As the months went by, Daniel's tone became sharper. Not angry, just dismissive. If I mentioned something I needed help with, he sighed as if I were asking for too much. If I reminded him of something important, he said I was being dramatic. The children noticed the distance too. Emma asked me once, "Mom, are you and Dad okay?" I smiled, the kind of smile that hides more than it reveals. "We're fine, sweetheart." But I wasn't sure anymore. I began to realize that Daniel no longer saw me, the woman who walked beside him all these years. He only saw the person who handled everything so he didn't have to. He was comfortable, and sometimes, comfort makes people forget the hands that built it for them. The tension peaked slowly, not with yelling, not with slammed doors, but with silence, cold, heavy silence. One day he came home already irritated. Something at work had gone wrong. I could tell because he looked at everything as if it were the problem. The shoes near the doorway, the mail on the table, even the soft music I always played in the evenings. I asked gently, "Tough day?" He didn't answer. He just kept walking. I followed him a few steps, trying not to disturb him. "Do you want tea?" "No." One word, sharp. I stepped back. My hands were trembling slightly, and I didn't even know why. A cup fell from the counter when I moved, and it shattered on the floor. He turned around, annoyed. "Can you be more careful?" Something inside me cracked a little more. I wanted to tell him that I was trying. That I was tired too. That I needed kindness. But the words stayed inside me. That night, everything built up, the years of sacrifice, of giving, of loving quietly while feeling unseen. The house felt heavy, like the walls were holding their breath. And then, it happened. The moment that changed everything. The moment when he said the sentence that broke the life I thought we had. The next morning, he said those words to my face. Not in anger, not in a fight, not as an outburst, but casually, as if stating a fact. We were sitting at the table when he looked at me and said, with a flat, emotionless tone, "You've done nothing for me." Just like that, the room fell silent. My heart felt like it stopped. My mind went blank. I stared at him, waiting for him to say he didn't mean it, waiting for any sign of regret, softness, or understanding. But he simply returned to his meal, as if he hadn't destroyed something fragile inside me. In that moment, something shifted within me, not anger, not rage, but clarity. A painful, sharp realization. I had given him everything. And he had forgotten all of it. Not out of cruelty, but because he had stopped looking, stopped seeing. Stopped appreciating, stopped remembering who I was in his life. I didn't shout or cry. My voice stayed calm even though my heart was breaking quietly. "Nothing?" I whispered. "Not even one thing?" He didn't lift his eyes. "You know what I mean," he said. "You haven't contributed the way you should have. I've carried everything." The words stung. They dug deep into years of effort he refused to acknowledge. I stood up slowly and walked to the window. Outside, the world was still moving, cars passing, birds chirping, children running to school. Life didn't pause for heartbreak. It never does. And as I stood there, I realized something painful but necessary. Love cannot survive without recognition. Not gifts, not grand gestures, just recognition, the gentle acknowledgement of someone's effort, presence, and heart. And in that moment, I understood he couldn't see me anymore. I turned back to him, my voice soft but steady. "I gave you my life," I said, "and somehow, you forgot every part of it." That was the moment everything changed. After that night, I moved through our home like someone waking from a long dream. I cleaned the kitchen, folded his laundry, and after that night, I moved through our home like someone waking from a long dream. I cleaned the kitchen, folded his laundry, and performed my usual tasks, but something inside me had shifted. I wasn't doing them for love anymore. I was doing them because I needed closure. I started writing down all the things I had done for him over the years, not to show him, but to remind myself that my life had meant something. I listed every night I stayed awake nursing him through sickness, every time I worked extra hours to help us pay rent, every meal I cooked when he was too tired to stand. The list grew and grew until I realized something important. I had given more than he ever even cared to notice. And that hurt, but it also set me free. A week later, I gently told him I needed some time away. Not in anger, not as punishment, but as healing. I packed a small suitcase and stayed with my sister in a quiet town by the sea. For the first time in years, I slept without feeling a weight on my chest. During my days there, I walked along the shore, watched waves rise and fall, and let myself cry when I needed to. I remembered who I was before life revolved around keeping someone else comfortable. I wasn't someone who did nothing. I was someone who had loved with her entire heart. And that was something. Daniel called several times. He apologized eventually, saying he didn't mean it, that he was stressed. But I had learned something powerful. Stress reveals truths people hide when they're calm. I didn't return home immediately. I took the time I needed. I rebuilt myself piece by piece, quietly, patiently. Forgiveness came slowly, like soft sunlight after a long storm. I forgave him for not seeing me. I forgave myself for staying silent for so long. But forgiveness does not always mean returning. I did return home, but not as the same woman who left. I walked in with a quiet strength, knowing my value even if he didn't. Daniel tried to bridge the distance between us, and I listened with calm sincerity. I wasn't cold or harsh, I simply understood now that love cannot survive on one person's effort alone. We didn't separate immediately. We talked. We rebuilt small parts of our connection. But now, when I looked at him, I no longer searched for proof that I mattered. I already knew I did. The sentence he spoke, "You've done nothing for me," no longer echoed as a wound. It became a reminder that some people only understand love when it is missing. As for me, I learned something precious on that quiet shoreline with my suitcase beside me. A woman's worth is not measured by the things others notice. It is measured by the love she gives, the strength she holds, and the courage she finds in herself when the world stops appreciating her. Today, I live gently, slowly, and with far more love for myself than ever before. Daniel and I are still walking our path, not perfectly, not easily, but honestly. Whether our story ends together or apart, I know now that my life has meaning. Because I gave love, real love, the kind that doesn't disappear just because someone failed to see it. And that, I've learned, is more than enough.